Joining us for today's video, we're going to give updates from Erik Ten Hag's press conference, and we're also going to have a little chat on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and a proposed three-man football committee at Manchester United. Now, we'll get you involved, so as ever, get involved in the chat and we will discuss some of your comments throughout today's video, Reds. First of all, Erik Ten Hag's press conference, what did you get from that?
Well, good news and bad news, but that's all we seem to get, good and bad. We don't seem to get just good news, which is a shame. There's a bit of cloud over that press conference today, but he tried to lift it. Amrabat confirmed that he's okay. Whatever injury he had in the international break seems to be okay, so he's back for the Sheffield United game. Varane confirmed he's back. Good news. Reguilon, he's back. But you know, Casemiro, he's the bad news. So we don't seem to get just good news, bad news. Casemiro, slight injury, so he's out. How long for? I'm not too sure. Didn't really go into it.
Yeah, he did make it clear that it was like a small issue, a small injury. So he does expect him to be involved for the upcoming games after Sheffield United. But you never know if he might make it for that game tomorrow. You're just not too sure. But
no,
for me, it's good news to hear on Amrabat, Varane as well, and Reguilon on the left-hand side as well to give us some balance there. So do you expect them three to maybe start against Sheffield United?
I think they're all in contention. I can safely say that Varane will be in the side. I'm not too sure about Amrabat. I'm not too sure about Reguilon, but they're there. And if they're on the bench, hopefully they get some time. But if they start, they start. I'm not too fussed really. I think they'll both fit in well. And if someone's in their place, then so be it. But I'm just glad they're back because they add strength to the squad, and that's what we need, especially over the next 10 days.
Yeah, particularly Varane and Reguilon, I expect them to get some minutes, I think, from the start against Sheffield United, because the upcoming games we've got after that are big games. Champions League, we need 3 points on the board. Then you've got City and Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. So them players, for me, have to get minutes so they're at a level where they're going to perform as well.
I think Varane's got to play. I think you just play your strongest side and take it as it is. Whatever's happening on this injury list, there's nothing anyone seems to be able to do. So you've just got to play your strongest side. So to me, Varane has to start, and he'll have to start and get fit and get ready for Tuesday night against Copenhagen. So you've just got to take Varane as he comes and not sort of worry about the future. It is what it is with Varane, and we're going to have to soldier on for the rest of the season if he keeps getting injured, and that's the way it's going to be.
Some other injury news as well, which I did see some clips from the training, what they've been doing today. United, I see Kobbie Manu in there as well. And Ability Talk fam says in the chat, any updates on Kobbie? And he looks like he's near enough ready to get involved back into the squad.
Yeah, that's a good sign. I thought he was going to be earmarked to be in the squad and get some game time, to be honest, after the summer, when the pre-season was going on. But the injury curtailed that. But I think Erik Ten Hag will give him game time, and he is a great player. So let's hope that he gets fit quickly and gets a chance in this team, because what we need young players like him to push these in the first 11, to push them, to make sure that they do the job. That's what's been missing. So Kobbie Manu back, absolutely fantastic news.
Yeah, we were discussing in our match preview yesterday about our centre midfield, who we expect to start in that midfield, and we do believe that Scott McTominay will start that game. But I was also thinking yesterday after we'd done the video, what about Hannibal? Every time he's come in this season, not put a foot wrong for me. He looks a willing runner. He looks like he can add quality into that midfield as well going forward. So with the games that we've got coming up, including Sheffield United, some big games after that, is this a perfect start for him to get some minutes?
Yeah, but you've got Mason Mount as well. Right, yeah. We didn't mention them yesterday. And the thing is, I'm confused with this midfield, and I think it needs sorting out. And Hannibal, to me, great player. Got the legs, got everything. Mason Mount is Erik Ten Hag's man. He wants him in there. So really, there's a number of players what are ready to get in that team. But Erik Ten Hag hasn't really, through injuries and that, been able to put out the side he wants. So to me, all the midfield players are there now. Obviously, Casemiro's out tomorrow, but he should put his first midfield players in. And I don't know what that is. And to be honest, I'm not too sure about my own choices, because I've not seen him perform at the highest level yet. So when I see that, then I'll know if Erik ten Hag's got it right or not.
Yeah, he was asked about Onana as well. Obviously not been in the best of form. It's been really up and down, just to put it mildly. And he did return with his response, and he said he knows, we know, he will do much better. And as every player who's coming into the Premier League, you need an integration period, but he has to step up. So he's putting it on Onana there that he needs to start stepping up in games as well.
Well, Erik ten Hag acknowledged that he has to do better. We all know that. We can all see with our own eyes. He has to do better, steps up. But he believes that he will do better. So the thing is, it's now on Erik ten Hag to get the best out of him, to make sure he steps up. But it's also down to Erik ten Hag that if he doesn't, he'll have to take him out the firing line, because if he doesn't step up, that means his confidence is battered. So he might need a rest period. But Erik ten Hag believes in him. He's the player Erik ten Hag wanted. So at the end of the day, it's down to Erik ten Hag here now to get some confidence in him and to cut those silly mistakes out, because that's what's in Onana's game.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people who prefer Hannibal over Scott McTominay to start in this game or going forward. And Curlers says Hannibal over Scotty all day. The kid is a warrior. But I also would say that Scott McTominay is a warrior as well. He's got Manchester United running through his veins, and he will give everything he possibly can on the field.
Yeah,
but does Hannibal, in your opinion, maybe give you a little bit more quality on the ball?
I think if you look at Scott McTominay's time here at Manchester United, he's had a long time here. So when you compare it to Hannibal, right, I would prefer Hannibal. If you're just looking at them two, and them two alone and no other midfield player, right, I would put Hannibal in before any of them midfield players what are in the Manchester United squad. I think Hannibal, his work rate, what he does, what he's chasing down, he's going forward and everything is far superior than anybody else. But if you put the two together, McTominay against Hannibal, then I have to take Hannibal all day long. Scott McTominay's been here a long, long time, okay? But the thing is, you can see what Hannibal brings to that team, and it's completely different than anyone else. So for me, if there was a choice between Scott McTominay and Hannibal, all day Hannibal.
Yeah, there wasn't any updates on Anthony, but he's someone who I expect to start tomorrow on the right wing. And that'll also put Bruno Fernandes back into the middle, where I think he gives you a lot more for this team. Well,
it'd be a shock if Anthony was playing and Bruno wasn't put in that centre of midfield. An absolute shock. That's the way Erik ten Hag likes it. He likes Anthony out there. He trusts him. He likes his work rate, he likes his holding up of the ball, and he also likes how he brings other players into it. And I think when he's out there, he can bring Bruno into it. But if Bruno doesn't do the job tomorrow in that midfield, then there has to be questions of what really is going on, what is the tactics. So tomorrow, big game, and I think it'll be a battle for Bruno. And like I said yesterday, to me, he has to have a captain's performance.
Yeah, would you prefer, or do you think you could tinker about, like with Hannibal and Bruno, maybe put Bruno a little bit more further back with the other midfielder and put Hannibal maybe in that number 10 role because of the energy that he does give, especially in closing down and getting the ball back?
I look at it this way, when you talk about tinkering, tinkering's over. Erik ten Hag should know what his players can and can't do. And he should know that where to put these players, right, and not to put these players. Okay, I don't want to see any more tinkering. I want to see the first pick in that midfield. Yeah. Those players he wants and who he trusts. And let's see what happens. And at the end of the day, the tinkering has to stop. Putting players who don't play in the normal position. Yes, it can be all right once or twice, but it seems to be going on and on and on now. So tinkering for me, Erik ten Hag in that midfield, not on. It has to stop. And Bruno has to be put in his right position.
One player I can't see him tinkering with, and that's Marcus Rashford tomorrow. I expect him to get the start on the left-hand side, do you?
Yeah, I expect him to get the start. You look at Garnacho, and I've said it before, Garnacho is pushing him. But the thing is, I listened to Andy Cole speak this week, and he talked about taking Rashford out the firing line so he can get some confidence back on the pitch. Andy Cole sort of said it like when he was a player, when he was confident. He said, even when I wasn't doing the right thing, I always wanted to play, but it wasn't the right choice to be on the pitch. I needed to get off there, just take it on the bench and then come on and get me confidence back. So he was calling for Marcus Rashford to be dropped to get some confidence back. And there is a shout on that.
Do you think it also matters on the individual as well, whether it could have a negative impact if they were dropped, whereas if they were playing through the poor form, it'd come and be more beneficial for him and you'd see a rise in the performance?
Listen, Erik ten Hag's got to think about the team. And if he doesn't, if he carries on not performing for 90 minutes, if his confidence is low, if he's not doing the job, any player on the pitch, then he has to do the right thing. Individuals, the end of the day, it's a team game, and if there's an individual lacking confidence, then it has to be brought out of the team, no matter who it is.
Yeah, Erik ten Hag did mention in his press conference as well, he's in the dark on what's going on off the pitch with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, near enough acquiring 25% of Manchester United. What's your overall thoughts on that?
Well, he says he has no involvement in the proposed minority takeover of the club. It's just focusing on the team.
That's what he should be doing as well.
Listen, we know that, everyone knows that, right? But to me, it's just getting silly. It's just getting a bit chaos. Yes, I do like the chaos on certain things and that, but this, I can't see any sense in it whatsoever, what's going on. To have somebody who's got a 25% proposed stake, who's got so much authority. I think Erik ten Hag, he's got no involvement, and to be honest, if I was him, I wouldn't want involvement. I would be looking at my job, and I think I'd be looking at my job. I think Erik ten Hag will be thinking that as well. If you take into account the running of Nice, what Sir Jim Ratcliffe's done, that's how I would look at it if it was Erik ten Hag. Managers were changed, manager left here and that. Just everything about it says to me, the way the structure, the news, what's coming out, and being kept in the dark wouldn't sit with me, and I don't think it's sitting well with Erik ten Hag. I looked at him in the press conference, and he didn't sit well. The smiling face, how he's comfortable and all that. It was just a matter of fact. I'm answering a question. It doesn't sit with me. And looking at Erik ten Hag, doesn't sit with him. And the future, his reign, doesn't bode well as far as I'm concerned. No involvement, no discussion, not even being asked to give an opinion or anything. Doesn't bode well going forward. Yeah. Not for any matter.
On that latest news, it's Sir Jim Ratcliffe who's proposing a new football committee at Manchester United, including himself, Joel Glazer and Sir Dave Brailsford, if his deal does go through for 25%. And yeah, do you know something? After watching that press conference with what you've said, it actually then strikes a little bit of a chord now with me going back to that.
Yeah, see, you just look at what's been leaked now or coming out, stories here, there and everywhere. This is no good for Manchester United. Players, the managers, the coaching staff, everything else like that, the people running the club, there's no clarity anywhere. Absolutely no clarity. And these are just reporters coming out with bits of this and bits of that. Sir Jim Ratcliffe will oversee the recruitment, the team performance, the sports science. Sir Jim Ratcliffe being given them jobs, them roles. This is what's being reported. It doesn't make sense to me, this. By all reports, you mentioned Joel and
Joel Glazer.
Sir David Brailsford, what their roles are, they'll have the last word on the committee. Now, it doesn't make sense to me at all what's going on. It is a club of chaos, carnage, and uncertainty. And going forward, Erik ten Hag, if he had air, he'd be pulling it out. It just lacks of a bit of class.
Well, if you're looking at Nice, what's going on there, I think they've been to a French Cup final in the last 2 years, and it's not really anything that speaks volumes in what they're doing over there as a football strategy. It's very much a start-stop sort of thing. Well, and I just don't see anything what you can get excited about what Ineos and Brailsford have done over there at Nice at the moment. I'm Ratcliffe in that as well.
Well, you say excitement over there in Nice. I mean, the fans have not liked it one little bit since he came. Yes, the second in the league at the moment, I think after about 8 games. But here's a note of caution for you all. When they took over, the big word was, we're going to compete, we're going to take over, and we're going to take on PSG. We're going to win the league. We're going to win and compete and for the Champions League. We want to win it. That's what it all was. This is what the new Nice was. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's big plan. Here's where we go. Here's what we want to achieve. We want to be number one. And what's happened? All them ambitious aims, the club chairman's come out and said, yes, there were big ambitious claims what we made in that, but we're putting that to the side. Our ambition is to get in Europe. Now that stinks to me. Our ambition now has changed from competing to win the league and the Champions League and taking over PSG to now just getting in Europe. That is a mirror image of what the Glazers had. All they wanted was top four to get in. Now, that's
a similar model what Arsenal used to have.
Well, look,
of just making top four under Wenger.
Well, I'm just pointing out that after 4 years in charge, right, of Nice, they have now just got rid of their ambitions, and their only claim now is to get in European football. So at the end of the day, where is it? Where is Sir Jim Ratcliffe taking Nice to another level? He can promise what he wants, but I'll tell you what, that model he's got there is the same model as the Glazers have got, because all they were bothered about was getting in the top four for money. And I've said it all along. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is in this all along for money and bailing out at a later date.
Yeah, there's a good point, a good question in the chat. Let me get it back up. Curler says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, can't have sporting control if a Glazer has the final say. This new deal is a nightmare, and he's totally right there, because it will be the Glazers with the money side of things who will have the final say. So with budgets and stuff like that, you know, budgets being allocated to the sporting strategy, the football strategies they call it, you know, that'll be all said by the Glazers, surely.
Well, we can only go by the reports, what are coming out, okay? So you can either take them like that or just accept it as gospel. Me, I take it with a pinch of salt. But if these reports are to be believed, then at the end of the day, they don't make sense on how to run the biggest club in the world. It doesn't work, and it doesn't sit right at all in any way. But, you know, it's your choice to take these reports, whether to believe them or not to believe them. And I think there's a mix and a match of a little bit of truth here and there, and a load of waffle, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Alex Core says, will Ratcliffe have to sell Nice now? And I'm not too sure. I don't think he will have as a...
Don't know.
Yeah, I think he was to have the majority control of Manchester United, the shares.
Yeah,
I think surely, you know, especially playing in Champions League and stuff like that.
I don't think in the Champions League you can own two clubs, and he doesn't own Manchester United. So at the end of the day, he's only a shareholder if this 25% goes through. And at the end of the day, the story's now coming out about signing. It looks as though it's going to get ratified on Thursday. All the reporters again saying it's going to get ratified on Thursday at a board meeting of Manchester United. Now the stories are coming out. Oh, it might be in a few weeks. Oh, it might be next year and all that. This is carnage for Erik ten Hag. How can he plan? How can Erik ten Hag plan when nobody knows exactly who's in charge, who's going to be in charge, who can press the button on transfers? There's your thing, your transfers in January.
So what's the football strategy going into January? That's the thing. If he don't get his 25% before then, well, we're going to go into another January transfer window where we're scratching about for loan signings like we did last season.
Well, this is what I say to you before about Erik ten Hag pulling his hair out of his head, if he had any hair. He can't plan for a strategy for January for any transfers. And that's where it's wrong. That's where clarity needs to be done. The Glazers aren't going to give ten Hag clarity about spending money. They won't want to spend the money. And I don't think the way the stories are being reported, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe's happy with the signings, what's already been made by Erik ten Hag. So there is...
There was a report specifically mentioning Casemiro with his age, the transfer fee, what they bought him for, contract length, etc. But I'm leaning more towards that's just the media trying to heap a bit more pressure on Manchester United on a player who, let's have it right, has been a bit underwhelming this season at times.
Well, I'm sure lots of people out there keep seeing reports, whether it's on the TV or on YouTube or in the paper or online. Okay, there's reports coming all over. It can only undermine what's going on inside the club with Erik ten Hag and his coaching staff going forward. The Glazers do not care. As long as they get their money, then everyone else will just have to lump it. And at the end of the day, I fear for Erik ten Hag, because if he's held back in that January transfer market, he definitely needs 2 players. Yeah. Definitely.
I still think we need a centre forward, but I don't think you're going to get one who's top class who'd be willing to move clubs in January. That's
very rare. You get that.
And it's very rare, and like we said earlier on, I think it's going to be looking more towards loan signings again.
Yeah.
You've got the Jadon Sancho thing. I don't think that's ever going to get resolved, and he'll probably move in January as well. But again, it'll probably be on a loan deal. It won't be a permanent deal, and United will be still paying a part of his wages.
Yeah, there's always a problem in January, but the thing is, Erik ten Hag won't have an understanding of what he can and can't do in January. That's the problem. Now, you just mentioned Jadon Sancho there. You know, he was asked about Sancho and he just cut it down straight away. And I've said from the very beginning, he ain't going to be playing for Manchester United. No way at all. And the reports out there, and that's all we're going off here. Like I say, take it or leave it. Sancho is supposed to be on the move. There is clubs looking at him, 2 from Germany, 1 from Turkey and another place. These reports are coming out there. I'm telling you now, I look at Sancho and I look at his attitude and everything, right? And he thinks he's entitled to everything. And he's got stubbornness written all over him. And I actually don't believe he's going to move because he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's going to sit here. That's my opinion. As I see him, he's going to sit here and just take his wages. He doesn't care, the kid. Never has and never will.
Doesn't have to move as well. He's got a contract at Manchester United, so
hard-faced.
Doesn't have to move. And yeah, I'm to say I'm disappointed is an understatement with what's gone on with Sancho. You know, you'd like to think in that statement he did come out with on social media where he said he wants to play at Manchester United. He sees his future here. He wants to fight for this club and the badge will. You know, if you really truly think that, go and wipe your mouth and go and apologise to Erik ten Hag and then get to some level of performance that we expected from you when you first signed and go and show us all what you can do on the pitch. But it just doesn't look like he's interested in doing that. Yeah, from the outside in anyway, we don't know the full details what have gone on, but...
Well, my last word on this today is simple, right? It's not a matter of him going and apologising and wiping his mouth and getting on with it. Listen, all last year, Erik ten Hag looks after him, and so did the coaching staff. Okay, they sent him away. They gave him exceptional treatment off the field, more than any other player I know. Right, and he did nothing when he came back to play. His performances were no good, and at the end of the day, that's his standard. So at the end of the day, ten Hag's decided, I'm wasted enough time on you. I'm calling you out, and that's what he did. And it's his way of saying, you're going, son. Will he go? I very, very much doubt it.
Yeah, one to watch as well as Harry Maguire. He did say on England international duty, didn't he, that he wouldn't be wanting to stay at Manchester United if he was only playing 1 game a month kind of thing. So that's something to look forward to in January to see if that gets resolved, and him moving.
Well, that will be interesting.
Yeah, Ravdi in the chat says, Jim making promises. I think he means on Nice. He doesn't realise how big the job is at Manchester United, how much work needs to be done and damage the Glazers have done to the club.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you know, he'll have his own ideas. He's got his own opinions, and as I said about Sir Jim Ratcliffe, you know, he's not my favourite person. I think his ego's too big. I think he just looks down his nose. He doesn't care what United fans think about him and his relationship with the Glazers. The moment he did not have to turn around and said he thinks the Glazers are nice people and they're great to work with. He didn't have to say that. He didn't have to wind us up. He didn't have to rub our noses in it, but he said it. If he wanted to compliment the Glazers, he could have done it in a different way. But he didn't care of the backlash. He either didn't care or he doesn't understand the United fans' feelings. And I can't see Sir Jim Ratcliffe being blind.
Yeah, some people might say Sir Jim Ratcliffe was doing that just to try and make his bid a bit more stronger, or more stronger than the Qatar bid, in, you know, publicly coming out and saying that they were nice people, you know, to soften them up. But I don't think these Glazers are that type of people. Do you?
Billionaires do not do that.
Yeah.
Do not come out with stupid comments like that.
And
Only someone comes out with comments like that when he is not aware of his surroundings. And Jim Ratcliffe clearly wasn't aware, which tells me he's not for us.
Yeah.
Well, he's not for me anyway. You might have a different opinion.
Yeah, as a Manchester United fan, as he says, it's something you don't do, in my opinion. But yeah, let's see. I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. Please smash a like on the video. Just thought you'd do a brief overview on Ten Hag's press conference, the latest news reports, if you believe it, on Sir Jim Ratcliffe's bid.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will be back tomorrow before the Sheffield United game. We will do a build-up before the game. So if you are available and you want to come and join us, we'll be going live at 7 o'clock with the team news, and then straight after the match as well, the match reaction. So you enjoy the rest of your Friday, Reds. Much appreciated again, and we'll see you tomorrow on that build-up, hopefully.
Thank you.